What is up, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Shred Show Live. Ladies and gentlemen, I cannot tell you how excited I am to have new friend Kyle Wright hanging out with me. And you guys all know my background. You know I have a passion for originators. Being an originator myself, I have so much respect, so much gratitude and admiration for when I have people like Kyle, top producers who are in the trenches making it happen. And today we're going to be sharing some of the strategies, some of the things that Kyle has done to set himself apart, to differentiate himself in a market that is more competitive than we ever imagined. Ladies and gentlemen, are you guys ready? Are you ready? It's time to shred. I get super excited, ladies and gentlemen, when I have somebody like Kyle on, because again, coming from an originator myself, it's so much fun. We talk to great people. We talk to executives. We talk to tech. We talk to all walks of life within our industry. But when I get down to the nuts and bolts, the nitty gritty, the people who are actually making it happen day in and day out, it literally just gets me pumped up. And Kyle is one of those top producers who has literally proven himself. So I'm so excited to have Kyle on the show. Kyle, good morning and welcome to the Shred Show.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
Dude, I am stoked to have you here. Plus, I found out as you and I were talking, you have a little bit of Utah background in you as well. The school here, which I'm an 8-0. You can see the snowboard, the surfboard in the background. But you went to school here. Did you get started in the mortgage industry here in Utah, or was that back when you went back to Arizona?
So yeah, I actually got started when I was in Utah. I was going to school there. I was actually trying to be an orthodontist. I was in school for pre-med, pre-dental, and
what?
Yeah.
Dude, you and I have a similar story. I was saying, like, I wanted to be an oral surgeon, like going to school, University of Utah, and I was like, man, like I can't do school. And I'm like, I'm out, dude. That's crazy. We're kind of like similar lines there. I love it. So what was that turning point? You're like, hey, I'm going to be an orthodontist. I'm going to med school. And then you're like, hey, you know what? Never mind. I'm going to go achieve the dream of being a loan officer. How the heck did that happen?
So actually, I didn't realize that so I got all the way through my prerequisites. I had like a 3.6 GPA at the university. So I put in my application and I didn't realize that they average your university with your community college. And I definitely didn't apply myself in community college. And so when they averaged out the grades, I ended up with like a 2.9 GPA, and I didn't even make it past first rounds.
Oh, man.
Called a buddy of mine and talked to a friend of his who was a dean at one of the schools I wanted to go to. And he's like, well, what I would do is I would graduate college, and then after you graduate, apply to our master's program, do the master's program, then transfer to dental. And so I just started adding it up and went, okay, so I'm 22 now.
Dude.
I'm going to be, 27, 28 before I graduate college and get into 34, just getting out of orthodontic school. I'm like, no, thanks.
Yeah, dude. Hard pass. Hard pass.
So at the time, I actually was working at a mortgage company in the back room. I've been filing boxes while I was studying for the DAT. And I was sitting down with my aunt, and she was like, I was like, I just don't know what I'm going to do. She goes, you know that you could like work at the mortgage company that you already work for. And I was like, yeah, but like, what am I going to do there? Because all I could think of was like the dude at Chase Bank, right?
Oh,
like,
dude.
I do not want to be the guy at Chase
That's
Bank.
So funny.
For the rest of my life. And she just laughed. She's like, you don't know. She was, let me open your eyes. And so she had me meet with a few people. And next thing I know, I was knee deep in it. So,
dude, this is so funny because that's the common misconception, especially of young people trying to get into the mortgage industry. They go to the bank, they go to their local credit union. They're like, I don't want to be that guy or that gal sitting behind the desk, being all stuffy, like being a loan officer or a mortgage professional. But so when you first were introduced to it and, knowing what it is now, was it that? I mean, was it sitting behind the desk? Like now you enjoy it. Like this is something you love doing, right?
Yeah. So my my first year actually was a lot of sitting behind a desk. But I joined up with a team, because I didn't know anything. So I had to, I got some training and things like that. So I joined up with a team. That team gave me a list of names to call through to practice some sales skills. It was 2015. It was right when they got rid of they lowered the upfront or the monthly MIP for FHAs. So we're doing a ton of streamlines. At the time, you could do an escrow refund too. So man, I was just calling and slamming FHA refis for the first few months. And then I was on that team, and then we just kept switching companies. And eventually I just said, hey, I just need to just figure it out, because all I'd done is learn how to sell a refi. And all I did was pick up the phone, call them and say, hey, I'm going to drop your rate 0.5% and then pass it off to someone else. I had no idea how to really sell other than that. I didn't know what to do with a purchase transaction. I never met with a real estate agent, anything like that.
Geez.
And so August of 2015, I just said, hey, I'm going on my own after 7-8 months of working on this team selling refis. And so I went on my own August of 2015.
Wow. And ever since then, you've just been killing it, learning. I love your start, because that's how most of us start. We're sitting behind the desk, making dials, figuring out the industry, trying to figure out how to sell more. Back, I remember the Streamline days, dude. That was so much fun. We were closing deals left and right, dropping people's interest rate 0.5% here. And I remember back then thinking interest rates are never going to get this low again. And then of course, 2020, 2021 happened. We saw rates even lower. But so I want to talk about your journey as a loan officer, because you have those days, you go out on your own. And how was it when you first went out on your own? Was it something you're yes, this is amazing. I'm excited. I'm a solopreneur now. I'm going to do this on my own. How was that experience for you?
Yeah. The first little bit was pretty rough, actually. So August, September, October, November, and December, I closed one loan.
Oh,
so yeah, it was pretty brutal. And I had no idea what I was doing. The client was like, hey man, what's going on? I'm like, dude, I don't know. Let me call some people and I'll get back to you with an answer, because I had no idea what I was doing. And then my aunt told me I should consider APM, American Pacific.
Yeah.
And, I made some phone calls, I interviewed with the branch manager there, and that was in end of November of 2015. I had only done one transaction. I got my second transaction under contract. So I walked in, I was at Academy at the time. I walked into Academy and I talked to the branch manager, and I was like, hey, I just don't know if it's working out here. I don't feel like I have the support that I need. I don't feel like anyone's teaching me anything. I mean, you guys knew I was new. You stuck me in the corner. I haven't talked to anyone since I've been here. And so I was like, I just don't know if I'm going to make it here. And it was my cry for help. Hey,
help me out here.
Or I got to go somewhere that will help me. And I walked back to my little cubicle that I had, and there was an email on my computer that said, turn in your laptop before you leave for the day. And I was like, well, I wasn't quitting. I was letting you know, I need some help and you're not helping me.
Wow.
And I called American Pacific that day and said, hey, I know I'm not supposed to be coming till the beginning of January, but I need a laptop in 2 days.
Nice. And so that was kind of the turning point. Now I want to chat about this a little bit, because everybody knows back then too, especially, things were crazy in the mortgage industry. And that was a common problem that I saw, especially as somebody who's owned a mortgage company. I'm here locally, know the companies, and the support was something that was just very lacking. Everybody was kind of focused on their deals, focused on this or that, and training new originators as they were coming in the business was not a big focus for anybody, which is so hard to say. I hate that. That it pains me to even say it, but you even you said, hey, I need help. Please help me. And they're just nope, that's too much work. That's too we have deals to close, man. We have interest rates are all time low. So you're okay, this is actually, I love that we're sharing this, Kyle, because everybody right now, as we go into 2022, there's a lot of things in the market that people are worried about, but look where Kyle is now, which we'll get into here in just a second. If the company that you were with would have taken the time and really helped you and nourished that relationship, now you're a top producer at one of the top mortgage companies in the country. Like, yes, it took a few years, but that's why I always tell people to play the long game. Invest in people, invest in culture, which American Pacific does, which we'll get into that. And that's what's helped you be so successful. So let's talk about that. So you move companies, and this is kind of the turning point for you. This is, you've done okay, then you really struggle trying to find your place, trying to find like the support, the culture, if you will, that you need. So you go over to APM. How did that go?
So APM was really great. They, right when I started, they teamed me, like they didn't team me up. Like I wasn't on someone's team, but they teamed me up with a guy that would, handhold me a little bit.
Nice.
He helped me do some training, taught me how to use Encompass, taught me how to take a full application, what questions to ask, where to find answers to questions I had. Cause I'm like, dude, I don't even know where to go for like questions. He's like, here's the, 4,000 for FHA, go read the whole thing. I'm like, dude, it's 1,600 pages. I'm not going to read the whole thing.
You're like,
he's like, yeah, but if you do, you'll know things other people don't. And sure enough, after a few months of working with him, I started understanding guidelines and, people say you can't do that, but if you do this, then you can do that. And so I just started piecing things together, but it took, I was with American Pacific for 7 months, January, February, March through July. And I started closing deals, but I closed 11 deals between January and July. And it was still pretty brutal though. I mean, I was broke. Like I didn't have any money. I had one kid at the time. I had a mortgage payment. It's $2,000 a month.
Dang.
My wife was pregnant with our second kid. And come July, I was looking at the bank statement going, we're like, I can see that there's income coming in the future, but we cannot make mortgage payments moving up. And so at the time, we were maxed on every credit card, everything. So I had a paid off truck, went down, got a title loan on my truck for $5,000, which was enough to get my next 2 months worth of bills. And I had made like, I think 25 to 27,000 in the first 7 months of that year. I ended up making 75 grand the last 5 months of the year.
Wow.
Paid off all my credit card debt, my title loan, everything. And, it's been up from there, but that was a really brutal year. I mean, there's months I couldn't make the mortgage payment. I had to borrow from one side to pay the other side. And, it's never fun when you have to go take your paid off truck and go down and get a title.
Dude, but this is the real story. Like sometimes it's always like, it's all sunshine and rainbows, but when you're starting any profession, as you're becoming a master of your craft, as you were learning in those, beginning years, it's a lot of hard work. It's a lot of hustle. Like it takes some tenacity to get through those. And again, you're playing the long game. You've seen it, pay off dividends, because now over the last couple of years, you're the number 2. You were the number 2 in production for all of American Pacific Mortgage. And again, it didn't happen overnight. I love you sharing the struggles, sharing the difficulties, because now that you've become that master of your craft, you took the time to learn in the beginning. Now you are helping people achieve that dream of homeownership. So talk about the last couple of years, because you have just done incredible. And American Pacific has really helped you. They've supported you. They have the team, the tools around you to really excel. And again, like I said, achieving what you have, the number 2 in the entire company.
Yeah. So, I mean, basically at the beginning, like I had a guy that, handheld me, like he was my trainer. We worked hand in hand. And then at a certain point also, they turned me on to leads where I started calling online leads. They were inquiring a mortgage. So they taught me how to be a good loan officer, because at the end of the day, if you can be a great salesman, but if you don't know how to originate a loan, like how to actually piece one together or have a support staff behind you that can do that.
Yeah.
What's going to happen? You're going to sell a loan, you're going to throw it over the wall, and then it's not going to close. So, my trainer taught me how to be a really good loan officer, how to know my guidelines, how to not necessarily fight with an underwriter, but like show an underwriter, yes, it can be done because of these guidelines and these guidelines. So my trainer helped me do a lot of those things. And then, being around that atmosphere of that branch that I was with, they were very much purchase oriented. And I have maintained a purchase oriented mindset, even through the last couple of years. I mean, I never dipped below, 80% in purchase business, just because like I was focused on purchases. Even though refis were coming, I was focused on, hey, I got to make sure that my realtor partners, all my other referral partners, my online lead sources feel that like, hey, they're number one priority. And so, I've just done all those things, but APM was there every step of the way with teaching me how to be a good loan officer, teaching me how to, work with underwriting departments and things like that. I have a great underwriting manager. I've been with him for a long time. We've developed an awesome relationship. And so anytime I need things, I just contact him and he's like, hey, this is what I can do. Or, hey, I know you need these 5 things. I can get 4 of them done for you. Things like that, where we've learned to work as a team.
Bingo.
Whereas, there's other companies I know out there that they're just like, hey, ops said this. Whereas APM is like, no, the loan officer said he needed this, so we're going to make it happen.
Well, that's what I think is the biggest difference. Like and again, we're not advocating to fight with underwriters. All you underwriters, we have a love for you guys. We know the hard work that you guys put into it, but this is a team mentality. Like underwriters are there for originators. We all have our certain part that we play, and that's where APM has figured it out so perfectly. Again, we all want to see our consumers achieve that dream of homeownership. And it does take somebody like yourself, an experienced, a knowledgeable loan officer, a mortgage advisor. And then it also takes a team of underwriters, making sure they're protecting us as an industry. Some people forget sometimes that's what underwriters are there for. If underwriters are approving loans and getting loans pushed through that ultimately are bad business for all of us and things, that's when we start to see bad things happen back in 2007, 2008. So underwriters, everybody plays a part, but it's when we all come together. And I love that you're talking about this, Kyle, because this is not talked about in a lot in the industry, this cohesiveness, this like team, being able to talk, being able to collaborate, being able to I don't want to say negotiation, but even talk, hey, let's talk about this. Like I see these conditions here. I get them. Like, let's talk through them. Being able to really understand our craft, I think, is something that we're losing. Like a lot of originators they don't understand our industry anymore. Things are trying to be pushed off in this way or that. But this is why loan officers, you in particular at APM, are being so successful, and something that they support. And I kind of want to talk about this too, because whether you're like a solopreneur loan officer and kind of want to go and if you want to own your own business, whether you're trying to expand into leadership, APM kind of gives you those opportunities for all those roles, right?
Yeah. So what's really cool is, I never thought that I would be where I am today. When I first started, I was like, hey, I'm just going to, make it work. Well, after the first year, I was doing a lot of production. I went to my branch manager and I was just like, hey, I need to figure something out because I'm struggling to keep up with the amount of documents that are coming. He's like, hey, well, now the next step is to be a team lead, not just be a loan officer bringing in, 2 to 4 deals a month. You're bringing in 5 to 6, 7 deals. You need an assistant. So then he made me a team lead. I got an assistant, went to him a few months later and was like, hey, I don't know what's going on, but now I'm doing 10 to 12 loans a month. He's like, oh, it looks like you need another assistant. So he hired me another assistant. We poached them from Union Bank. They were a top producer over there. Came over. He was like my right-hand man. And he's been with me ever since, but, built the team lead. And then after a while, I was just like, hey, I now need my own processor, not just my own. This was 2000 and end of 2018, beginning of 2019. I was doing 180 to 200 loans a year. Wow. And I'm like, it's time for my own processor. It's time for my loans to be treated like this. And so I just, I went to my regional and they just said, okay, well, let's run the numbers. Let's do this. And it took a few months to get it in shape because they had to get licensing on board and getting some things. But, I approached them and just said I was ready for the next step. And without hesitation, they're like, boom, let's get this rolling. They set me up with my own branch, helped me get my licensing in order. I hired my first processor. Dang. It went from 2 people on my team to all of a sudden I had 7 people on my team, end of 2019. and now I've got 15 people here. It's pretty crazy, but
Dude,
you know, they were with me every step of the way.
This is what I want to talk more about, because this is something that, again, we still don't see it enough, but organizations like American Pacific, like APM, they really do see the journey of top producers. They see like, hey, okay, we've got Kyle. He's just learning, you had a mentor kind of teaching you the ropes, but then they help you progress. They help you get to the 2 to 4, the 4 to 8, 8 to 12. They start seeing you more and more and more, and they give you the resources. They have the structure, whether you want to be a solopreneur. There's nothing against all those loan officers out there that want to be a solopreneur, who are just doing, the 10 to 12 or the 10 to 20 or whatever that is, and they're happy with that. That's great. But if you want to keep stepping it up, if you want your own branch, if you want your own team, if you want your own whatever it is, they have the structure for that. They have the ability. And again, the setups to say, hey, well, if you're like Kyle and you want to grow and you want to have your own team where you're closing, 180, 200 loans a month, great. We have the structure. If you want to just be that solopreneur, we got the structure for that. So that is really what is exciting for me, especially in this new age, as our industry continues to evolve, as we see innovation, technology start to play a role. Having an organization that fully supports you with whatever your journey looks like as a mortgage professional is just one of those things that's super exciting to me. And I want to talk more about this because you mentioned this, and I think this is crazy. Even with the refi boom the last couple of years, you've kept above almost 80% purchase business. 2020, 2021 was like huge refi boom. Rates were at all-time highs. How did you possibly keep it 8%? Like, how would you not go and focus, especially somebody like you who has like the resources, you've got the database to just focus on refis and just crush those? How did you keep above 80% purchase business?
Well, I had to make the decision because, there was a time where so I sent out in March of 2020, I sent one voicemail, and I did it through Slide Dial. Sent a voicemail to all my past clients, just said, hey, rates are dipping. Give me a call for a refi. Me and two guys on my team took 84 applications in one weekend for refis. Whoa. And I just said, if I keep this up, I will never close another purchase transaction because I couldn't keep up with it. So, from then I just made the conscious decision, like, hey, I'm going to just focus on purchase business. I'm going to do the refis. Absolutely. But I'm focusing on purchase business. And, here we are. Refis aren't dead because we're still doing a ton of cash outs, not doing a lot of rate and term, but I'm doing a ton of cash outs. But here we are. And, this month we're closing 46 deals and 36 of them are purchase transactions.
So why? Tell me, why purchase business compared to refi? But what is it about the purchase process, for you that you've continued to focus on? Like, you made that conscious decision of saying, hey, I'm going to focus on purchase decision. What was it for you? Was it relationships? Tell me about that.
Well, yeah. So I started in July of 2016, my famous year. I met up with a guy named Tyler Blair, who runs Legacy Real Estate team here in Arizona. And we didn't know at the time, but both of us shook hands saying, hey, we're going to agree to spend marketing dollars together, $500 a month. I didn't have two pennies to rub together. I just went and got a car loan for my car. He had done just something similar. We didn't know, but we shook hands, said, hey, we're going to work together. At the end of the year, we sat down. We're like, dude, I can't believe what we just did. And we both told each other, like, dude, when you came to me, I didn't have any money. And he was like, what do you mean? I didn't have any money. And I was just like, so anyway, we've hit it off and we've been partners since then. But he runs a really big team and we help support that team. He's one of my number one realtor referrals. But, I told him in 2020, I said, hey, I got to help you. Underwriting turn times are through the roof. People weren't being able to get, approved quickly, and we were struggling to keep, staff and whatever, in processing and in underwriting and closing. And I just said, hey, we're going to focus on purchases. I know refis are here, but when the refi goes away, you're still going to be here. And how I treat you now is going to impact whether I maintain this relationship down the road or not. And so I just chose to, focus on my purchase business and make sure that they were taken care of. Because ultimately, if rates were to go up, refis are going to go away. What am I left with? Just a bunch of book of business for people to do refis, purchase business still be there. So I focused on purchase business.
This is incredible, especially right now with what our industry is going through, with interest rates on the rise, with, the like you said, you're still doing refinances, but rates are not as low. We're not in a refi boom. You made that mental decision. You said, hey, I can play the short game here. And we all know, we've all been, you and I were in the streamline boom of 2015. Like, we can make money. We know how to close loans, but you focused on the relationship. That was like, you're like, hey, I know that the long game is people are always going to buy homes. Refis are going to go there. They're going to come and go as rates go up and down. But the one constant that you and I have seen being in the business as long as we have, people will always buy homes. And if we work with referral partners, if we work with realtors, that story with you and your buddy Blair, you said Blaine? But with Tyler, like, neither of you guys had money to put together, but you made the decision, and now look what has paid is like dividends. You decided to make that relationship a focus for you. And again, now I'm sure you can't even equate to how much that has actually paid dividends for you, for your team, for everything, all the incredible people you've helped buy a home. And guys, that's why everybody listening, you have to start focusing on the long-term game. If you're playing the short-term game, like, sure, there's great money to be had, but that's why APM in particular, American Pacific Mortgage, has always focused on long-term game. Look at what Kyle has done with Tyler. Look what Kyle even did in his entire LO journey, from where you began to having a mentor to now being the leader that you are, the number 2 producer in the entire company. They helped you. They were that, like you said, they held your hand. They guided you. You've put in the work. You put in the freaking hustle, but they were there. That's the difference. And especially in a market like we are, guys, having an organization like APM that can support you and can help you grow makes all the difference. Couple of comments coming in here. Patrick Felvey, APM building an amazing model for efficient max production. Takes a village. Way to go, guys. Awesome comment. We just started doing work with APM in Chicago and Friday, Denver. We're very excited to be a partner with APM. Thank you so much, Patrick. But that's what it is, Kyle. It really is having a partnership. It's having a company that you can rely on. It's having a team that you can trust and know that they have the same goals, they have the same passion, and that they have the same vision as you. So let's talk about this. We start to wrap things up here. What's next for you? What are you looking forward to? What's next for Kyle Wright and your team?
So obviously, I've proven that I can be a producer. So the next step is, can I prove that I can help other people do the same thing? I was given my branch about 2 years ago. It branches top 25 branches in American Pacific. It's the number 1 branch in all of Arizona. And so the next goal is to continue that expansion and help other people. Wow. So what I've already done so far is I've taken on 2 other smaller branches and helped with them. They were struggling a little bit with production, not necessarily bringing in loans, but the processing side and underwriting side. So I've aided in that and helped them, turn things around there. But really the next goal is to, help other people. So we're taking on loan officers that need some help, need some mentorship, just like I did, So I have 3 or 4, prospects that are looking to, grow and become the next LO that, does 10 to 12 deals. I have a couple guys on my team that I've already taken from. One was a real estate agent on a team that dropped out, was like, I'm getting out of the industry. I was like, before you do that, come work with me. He's closing 7 deals a month already. He's been in.
Wow.
8. So, the next goal is helping other people, moving more into like a leadership role rather than in a production role, wanting to go and show and help other people, be a coach, be a mentor, and just like go into that next expandatory role where I'm helping other people rather than just focusing on my own personal production.
It's the giver's mentality, man. You had somebody help you along the way. You had a great organization support you on your rise to, being one of the top producers in the entire country, especially with an APM. And now you get to share that. You get to share your knowledge. You get to share your expertise in helping other people, helping other mortgage advisors achieve that dream, grow their dream, which, dude, I have so much, again, as I've said in the beginning, I have so much respect and admiration for guys like you who are willing to share this struggle. So many people are not like, oh no, it's been sunshine and rainbow since I started in this business, but like sharing like your story and like hearing it, I guarantee it's inspired others. I guarantee you're going to continue to inspire others and continue to help people. That's what having an organization like APM is all about. Supporting yourself with the right culture, the right team, the right people who have that mentality and are willing to share, are willing to give back. So kudos to you for the time that you're going to give back, the leader that you are, for the leader that APM is creating. And I'm excited to chat with you, even if at the end of this year, I want to do a follow-up and see how the team is doing, to see all the people you've helped achieve that, that growth mindset. So kudos to you, man. Really excited and appreciate you joining us and sharing all that you have, Kyle. It's been awesome.
Yeah, I really appreciate you having me on the show. It was a blast. It's been a crazy journey, and it wasn't easy, and it still isn't easy. So.
Dude. Oh, dude, I love that. So with it now, I want to end with this. If you could give one little snippet of advice, again, with everything you've experienced going into this new market, what's one thing that you would tell LOs, maybe they're struggling? What's one hint of advice that you'd give to everybody listening today?
Find one thing that you can work with clients and focus on that, and focus on being good at that. There's nothing like a loan officer that knows how to do one thing really, really, really well. And then, from there you can, expand.
Dude, that's the one thing. I love that. It's the 1% incremental changes that make all the difference in the world. Just be 1% better. Focus on what you're really, really good at. Focus on one thing, and then you can build from there. That's such good advice. Sometimes we get too these huge ideas, these grandiose ideas, but when it comes down to it, it's just those small incremental changes. So freaking Kyle, you're absolutely brilliant, man. I love it. Thank you so much for hanging out with us today. And we appreciate everyone hanging out with us. I know that you got something out of this in an evolving market, in a very competitive market. What Kyle has shared with us today, I guarantee it's going to help you guys. If you need a team, if you're looking for someone who can support you, APM might be a good place for you to start looking. So with that, as always, we appreciate you. We love you. Now it's time for all of you guys to go shred, go show up, hustle, repeat every day. See ya.